Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 22, verse number 15 and 16. 15 we will read. Rishi Uvacha Bhadam Udvado Ramaham Aprata cha tavatmaja Avayor Anuruposau Adyo Vaivahito Vidhi. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. The great sage replied, "Certainly, I have a desire to marry, and your daughter has not yet married or given her word to anyone. Therefore, our marriage, according to Vedic system, can take place." Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. There were many considerations by Kardama Muni before accepting the daughter of Swayambhuva Manu. Most important is that Devahuti had first of all fixed her mind on marrying him. She did not choose to have any other man as her husband. That is a great consideration because female psychology dictates that when a woman offers her heart to a man for the first time, it is very difficult for her to take it back. Also, she had not married before. She was a virgin girl. All this consideration convinced Kardama Muni to accept her. Therefore he said, "Yes, I shall accept your daughter under religious regulation of marriage. There are different kinds of marriages, of which the first class marriage is held by inviting a suitable bridegroom for the daughter and giving her in charity, well dressed and well decorated with ornaments, along with a dowry according to the means of the father. There are other kinds of marriage, such as Gandharva marriage and marriage by love, which are also accepted as marriage. Even if one is forcibly kidnapped and later on accepted as a wife, that is also accepted. But Kardama Muni accepted the first class way of marriage because the father was willing and the daughter was qualified. She had never offered her heart to anyone else. All this consideration made Kardama Muni agree to accept the daughter of Swayambhuva Manu. Verse 16. We'll read ourselves. Ramasa Puyan Naradeva Tesya Putrya Samannaya Vido Pratitaha Traevate Tanayam Naradyeta Swayaiva Trantya Sipatim Eva Shriyam. Translation. Let your daughter's desire for marriage, which is recognized in the Vedic scriptures, be fulfilled. Who would not accept her hand? She is so beautiful that by her bodily luster alone, she excels the beauty of her ornaments. Purport. Kardama Muni wanted to marry Devahuti in the recognized manner of marriage prescribed in the scripture. As stated in the Vedic scriptures, the first class process is to call the bridegroom to the home of the bride and hand her to him in charity with a dowry of necessary ornaments, gold, furniture, and other household paraphernalia. This form of marriage is prevalent among higher class Hindus even today and is declared in the Shastras to confer great religious merit on the bride's father. To give a daughter in charity to a suitable son-in-law is considered to be one of the pious activities of a householder. There are 8 forms of marriage mentioned in the scriptures, scripture Manusmriti. But only one process of marriage, Brahma or Rajasita marriage, is now current. Other kind of marriage by love, by exchange of garlands, or by kidnapping the bride are now forbidden in this Kali age. Formerly, Satriyas would, at their pleasure, kidnap a princess from another royal house, and there would be a fight between the Satriya and the girl's family. Then, if the kidnapper was the winner, the girl would be offered to him for marriage. Even Krishna married Rukmini by that process, and some of his sons and grandsons also married by kidnapping. Krishna's grandsons kidnapped Duryodhana's daughter, which caused a fight between the Kuru and Yadu families. Afterward, an adjustment was made by the elderly members of the Kuru family. Such marriages were current in bygone ages, but at the present moment they are impossible because the strict principles of Satriya life have practically been abolished. Since India has become dependent on foreign countries, the particular influences of her social orders have been lost. Now, according to the scriptures, everyone is a Sudra. The so-called Brahmanas, Satriyas and Vaishyas have forgotten their traditional activities, and in the absence of these activities, they are called Sudras. It is said in the scriptures, Kalo Sudra Sambhavaha. In the age of Kali, everyone will be like Sudras. The traditional social customs are not followed in this age, although formerly they were followed strictly. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport.
Text 16. Kamaha sabhuya naradevatesya putraya samanaya vidau pratitaha kaevate class Hindus even today, and is declared in the Shastra process, and some of his sons and grandsons also married by everyone will be like Shudras. The traditional social customs are not followed in this age, although formerly they were followed strictly. Thus in the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanachalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschal Adi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Please repeat the translation. The great sage replied, certainly I have a desire to marry, and your daughter has not yet married or given her word to anyone. Therefore our marriage, according to Vedic system, can take place. Who would not accept her hand? She is so beautiful that by her bodily luster alone she excels the beauty of her ornaments. So finally, Kardama Muni starts speaking, confirming, yes, as you said, I have a desire to marry, and I shall accept your daughter because she is not yet married or given word to anybody else. And your daughter also desires for marriage. So who will not accept her because she is so beautiful? So, these activities of personalities like Kardama Muni, Swayambhuva Manu, how they got married, all these things are described in Srimad Bhagavatam about her beauty, about the system in which one gets married, what is the right system. All these things, after probably another 100 years, it will not be even see that the modern world is completely shaped into some other culture. As Prabhupada says, that is the foreign countries, we became dependent. So India has become dependent on foreign countries. Particular influences of our social orders have been lost. So as per the way life should be on earth, as created by the Lord, there is a social system by which the society conducts itself. The members in the society conduct themselves according to their varna and ashrama, which absolutely ways it doesn't exist at all. So when these things don't exist, when basically Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and the four ashramas, and when they do not exist at all, following the rules and regulations of those particular social system does not make sense at all. So then what is the solution? At least for Krishna conscious devotees or those who are wanting to be Krishna conscious, what is the solution for them? In one conversation, Prabhupada was asked, what about this varnashrama system? So Prabhupada was saying that, how without varnashrama system, how we are existing? The question. How the varnashrama system will happen in ISKCON? That was a question that was posed to Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, we are not varnashrama society, we are a society of Krishna conscious devotees. Because Lord Chaitanya has given us this Sankirtana process, holy name. Therefore, anybody and everybody is becoming Vaishnava, rising above their varna and ashrama. That is the power of the holy name, that the power of the Sankirtana Prabhupada mentions. So, obviously, unless everybody becomes a devotee, it is not possible for the original social order of Varnashrama system to be community of devotees, not community of young brahmacharis only, because Varnashrama society consists of Everybody, from child to everybody, is a member of the Varnashrama society. When a baby is born, from that time, there are rules and regulations, what the parents should do, etc. How the child should live with the Guru, in the Gurukula. Then all the other things up to, Vanaprastha, Sannyasi. And sannyas has various orders, various levels of sannyas. And finally Paramahamsa, this one. And the duties of Kshatriya, all these kind of things we can, even if somebody then we need to have devotees, or right from beginning devotee parents, devotee children, all these kind of things. And then we can have some hope. Ultimately, the society has to sustain itself. All the activities that are required for man to survive in the material world has to be there within that society. That is meaning of sustainability. All the things that are required, all the needs of the man, starting from bodily needs to emotional needs to intellectual needs to, all kinds of social needs of relationship, power, all these kind of things. It's all very nicely divided into this Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. So there's no much point in we as a movement trying to go into the details of it and implement it, because it becomes very implemented in its original system. Probably somewhere in one corner we can show that if the devotees they become transcendental. Even devotees they also cannot be, how many devotees will transcend the body and then act as a Kshatriya, the Vaishya, the Shudra according to their body. Their soul should transcend the body, and then, because body you cannot transcend. Body is law of karma. Body you cannot transcend. But you can transcend the body. The body will still remain it has to come under the classification of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. It has to come under that classification. Now we have to transcend. Then probably we can just show the world that, look, here there is a sustainable community. We are able to meet all the needs and everybody is happy in the society. We will be able to show. So that was the original idea of the Varnashrama system. So today, the way the world is set up, it is completely nothing to do with God-willed way of living. Everything is an exemption. It's like if you see even about 100 years back, every girl was married before she attained puberty. Already the man was fixed. Like in the principle here, Prabhupada is saying that if somebody is given their mind first to a man, offer her heart to a man for first time, then it's very difficult for her to take it back. So in this way, in one sense, it is such a good system. In one lecture, Prabhupada talks about, all big leader, talks about himself, talks about big leaders in India, Mahatma Gandhi, Dr. Rajendra Prasad. He says, they all got married when they were 12 years old. They were 14 years old. He's citing all that. Including he also says, when he got married. Then his sisters got married, 12 years old, all that he's describing. That means, let's say that is around 1900s. In India, the system was that if a girl is not fixed to a boy by about 12 years old, the father would be in great anxiety. Will be in great anxiety. Now that 12 has moved on to 30. By 30, if the girl is not married, the parents are very, they're panicky and they panic and they think, I'm not able to do my duty as a father. That has moved to 30. And from that till the age of 30, this world there's so much of free mixing of genders that, all the good qualities which is required for spiritual life is eroded, both for boy and girl. So basically the quality of the body finally that comes out, which is available for taking up spiritual life, is of very low quality. Even though we say ourselves to be educated, our education is simply about, giving lot of stuff for memorizing into our brain. That is our education. Our education is not in social harmony, in the principles of social harmony, character, all these things. There is no appreciation at all. Every individual is a self-centered individual today. In contrast to earlier culture, if you see the Varnashrama culture, a person never feels he has an existence outside his society. He is integral part of the society. Only internally, spiritually, he thinks he is independent in the sense, I don't belong. That is detachment. But now in the modern context, if you see, no boy or girl is having that feeling of being, connected to the society like in that manner, sensitively. So much of finer sensitivities were there in the Vedic culture, Vedic society. Without that, understanding that context, we can't even understand what was, let's say, what the Leelas that Krishna performed 5,000 years back. When we read Krishna book, we read as if it is modern society, by default. Something is described there. At the most you say, okay, a village. You may think a village. A village as you know today. But actually that has got so much of intricacy, a Vedic society, a Vedic, Vrindavan. What is Vraja? What is Vrindavan? What are the different tentacles of social relationship in such a society? And in that society, that is where Krishna's Leela is happening. That is where Krishna's Leela with the gopis are happening. So even materially speaking, we don't have enough qualification to even to grasp what is being described there. What to speak of, transcendentally. The relationship between Radha and Krishna, all those things. Cannot conceive of all those things so easily. It only has to be revealed. And that revelation comes only when our heart is purified. One should not think that these cultural aspects are irrelevant to absolute spiritual realizations. They're all very much relevant. Unlike Mayavada philosophy, in one go we can just say that these things have no meaning at all. So why either this culture or that culture does not make any difference. But as far as Vaishnavas are concerned, yes, it does not make difference transcendentally. For transcending this material mode, it does not make difference. But such, values that one gets from such Vedic culture is very much essential for us as symbols, as training in the material world. A highly cultured in the material world in order to live in the spiritual world. A highly cultured, according to our Varnashrama system, highly cultured society, not according to modern cultured society, it's a highly regulated social order. All the things that are there in the spiritual world, all the values that are required to live in the spiritual world are actually present in a very dharmic Vedic culture. It is present. Whether man-woman relationship and all these kind of things, the essence of it, all the symbols are present. And a person, when he goes through the Vedic culture, he builds that vocabulary of character. How to see a woman, how to respect elders, how all those kind of things. If you see in Krishna book also, all those things are very much there. If you don't know that, then how can you go to the spiritual world? If you do not know how to live, suppose you are a beggar in the street. Let's say we adopt a beggar in the street. A rich family adopts a beggar in the street. What will they do first? They will clean him up, no. They'll clean him up and teach him how to be part of this family. Because his values will be completely different. So he has come into a new home. So that is why from the material world to go into the spiritual world, you have to go through a culture of Sanatana Dharma. This is a standard process. This is a process of staircase. But otherwise, going up through the staircase. So as Prabhupada explained, in ISKCON, no, at this point of time, there is no question of varnashram and all. The holy name is so powerful. Chant the holy name of the Lord. And all the original characteristics that are required to go back to Godhead will automatically blossom in our heart. Because these are all originally there in the soul. So if the soul is awakened, all these things will come. But this process of a Vedic culture, being a member of the Vedic culture and following all these things, as being a dharmic man, all those things was meant to help us awaken the original understanding, original values, original relationships, social relationships, social values are all very much important also. So today's society has become so gross that fine things are not, there's no appreciation of the fine relationship between man and woman, husband and wife, loyalty. All these things are not known now. Insensitive. Women has become insensitive, girls have become insensitive, boys have become insensitive. Not only that the culture is, the favorable culture for Krishna consciousness is absent, there's a counter culture that is existing which is promoted by Kali. Counter culture. So this counter culture is, that is at least as devotees of Krishna consciousness movement, that is why we come away from that culture. We don't want to be influenced by that. While we are chanting Hare Krishna and awakening our love for Krishna, we don't want to get entangled in that culture. Facebook culture, this culture, we think it is exciting. It become the modern world is completely, it's a different culture. Devotees don't want to get into all those things. You become a social being of their world all of a sudden. If you have all your Facebook friends and if you are active on Facebook, then you will become like one of them. Today socializing means Facebook. So we had become free. Not only there is a danger of a counter culture that is outside for Vaishnavas. We are protected from all those things. So we should be very careful. It is not that we are not progressive in our thinking that why we cannot use Facebook for preaching. The thing is, what can be safely used, we will use. Because This association is like that. Once you associate or once you make friends, you cannot filter afterwards. Very difficult. By association, asat sangha, tyaga is prescribed for a Vaishnava. So if you go close like that, oh, I will go into them and I will preach to them. No, it will not work. You will get contaminated. We want to come out of all these things. We want what is our original value. What is... The Vaishnavas are not being away from these things like the Mayavadis are. Mayavadis make everything zero. They make male zero, female zero, identity zero, relationship zero, love, affection. All these things are zero. Family system zero, everything they make it zero. Even if you want, when you go back to Godhead, first we have to, according to what is revealed, first we have to take birth in Krishna's Leela in this material world. And then only you go to the spiritual world. That means you should learn you should have the culture, everything to be born in a world where Krishna is doing his Leela. Krishna's Leela never ends. It's eternal Leela in this material world. Somewhere his Leela is going on. So you won't be born somewhere as a Gopa, Gopi, whatever it is, or a cow or a calf. You have to take birth there first. And then, so all these things are, not, there is not that we ourselves create all these things. There's an internal energy of the Lord which will influence us. Daiva Prakriti. When we become purified, gradually we come under the influence of Daiva Prakriti. And Daiva Prakriti means all these elements of spiritual, social living, which the Vedic culture is very close to, is automatically, inculcated in us by the internal energy of the Lord. At least we should not put water on that fire of your sadhana by associating with karmis societies of the modern days. In the earlier culture, the original transcendental, original Varnashrama culture, which makes one prepare a member for a transcendental life, that Varnashrama culture, the Vedic culture, there some other kind of dangers were there. There are finer dangers. Oh, you will get stuck here in this material world, doing good and, because things are, the relationship, everything is quite sweet. Not because you are very dharmic, punya, so you are practically sinless. When you are sinless, life is very nice. Then you can get attached to it. This is life. Mistake it to be the spiritual world. So that way, there is one danger there. Now, that danger is not here now. Because here, whatever you say, you can very clearly, as Kali Yuga passes by, and even now, we can see Dukkhalaya Mashashvatam, you can see in the society. So in that spirit, if you see, with respect to lifting the soul out of this material world, present day is very favorable period for preaching. Nobody is happy. But if you see in a proper Varnashrama culture, in a Vedic society, you cannot say nobody is happy. There are many people who are happy. Because the happiness is coming from punya. When you are sinless, you become happy. Now practically everybody is doing sin and everybody is unhappy. So with respect to telling the soul that, see, you are not satisfied here, yes, they first accept that. This life is full of problems. They accept that. So in one sense, it's very easy for us to preach Krishna consciousness because the soul is hankering. for Satchidananda. And today's modern culture doesn't even give anything of that fine taste what the soul is seeking. He doesn't get. That is unfortunate situation of the material culture, which we have to take advantage. So Prabhupada said the Sankirtana movement, chanting of the Hare Krishna, is a direct elevator. You, instead of going through the step, you go through straight away you go up. Normal process is that become a perfect member of the Varnashrama society, practice bhakti, go back to Godhead. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Raya were discussing in their dialogue, Ramananda Raya starts with that. What is perfection of life? Perfection of life is to be a good member of the Varnashrama system and serve Hari. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't say it is wrong. He said, go further. It will not work. Go further, go further. Finally, the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, following in the footsteps of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is the only thing that, we can, and we are very lucky in the sense. If we take to Sankirtana process, we should not worry that, where is it's an unfortunate situation that the proper Varnashrama system is not there. No, don't worry, the Varnashrama system is there. It's such a long process you have to go through. You should say, I am spared of all those things. I am spared of, doing this, being a Kshatriya, being a Brahmana, or this and that, and marriage, and all these things. Like Kardama Muni is a great Muni. So like that, I had to go through nothing, all those things are shortcut, straight away. Chant Hare Krishna and be happy. Elevate yourself. It is not easy. What we have got is not easy. Going to spiritual world means very, very high tapas you need. In such a Varnashrama system, tapasya has got the greatest value. And more material happiness is there in a particular culture, to give up is more difficult. So tapasya is more difficult, very austere. Just like Krishna tells, I do not know how to repay these gopis. They have left their father, mother, everybody, and they have come to me in the middle of the night. Right? Actually, the significance of that modern man cannot understand even. Because in the modern society, there is no such bondage between husband, wife, value system, and all those things is not there. So in their system it is there, and they came away to Krishna. That's what he is saying. Nowadays we leave father, mother, house, everybody, and come to Lord Chaitanya's movement. Because everything is dukkhalaya there. There's no meaning in that. No doubt there is some level of sacrifice with respect to modern world also. There is a level of sacrifice that the devotees would give up their life and come to Krishna consciousness. That is their faith, their surrender, that Krishna will take care, service of Krishna. All this credit is there. But the way the gopis came to Krishna, it's the way. How can the Lord say, I do not know how to repay the debt to the gopis? That means that is the level of sacrifice which we cannot conceive unless you know what is a Vedic system, what is a bondage between a husband and a wife, and what the society would consider if a girl walks out in the middle of the night and goes somewhere. Another circumstance is when all that 16,000 queens of Krishna, their story. They were also, one day they were outside they were kidnapped and they were outside the home. It was very clear, they cannot go back home. Means just see what was the interlocking of all the social relationship in that society. And there they sacrificed and they came. So Krishna was protecting. So they asked Krishna to marry. So he married all of them. Everything in this material world that is there can be rearranged. Just like you see, even today, whether it's a Vedic system or modern world. In Vedic system, man and woman was there. Modern world also, man and woman is there. Both are there. Man-woman relationship is there now also. So the symbols are there, but they are all combining in a dharmic way. This is the whole point. All the components of the society exist today, existed that time also. But they are combining in a adharmic way. They are configuring themselves in a adharmic way. That adharmic way is called sin. Sinful way. So devotees want to be free from sinful way, sinful thinking, sinful feeling, sinful activities. They want to be free by engaging fully in Krishna's service. Any questions? Jai Grandharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.